Welcome back. You are listening to Nate the Hate with my co-host MVG joining me as always. Welcome.
What's going on, Nate? I woke up this morning and the sun was shining. How about that?
In more than one way, since we did have a Mario 35th anniversary direct air this morning. But before we get into that topic, we are going to touch on a couple of the Streamlab donations that we had over the last week, because there's only two of them. I want to start the show with them this time. And we had a $5 donation from Symphonic Balance, who wrote, "Do you think it's possible that due to the delays Nintendo has had in 2020, that their plan now is to push a larger number of releases in 2021 so they're not competing with Sony and Microsoft with their launch lineup? Great podcast. Keep up the good work."
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're not competing with Sony and Microsoft, but yes, I do agree that their focus will be 2021.
Yeah, there's definitely been a shift of some of their releases into 2021, and we saw that today with the Mario 35th Anniversary Direct, where Nintendo is positioning Super Mario 3D World in February of 2021. And I mean, we have to look at it that 2020 is the 35th anniversary of the Mario series, and the fact that Nintendo is putting 3D World into 2021 and removing it from the 35th anniversary year itself shows that Nintendo has faced delays due to the pandemic, and that 2021 should have substantial amount of software, even from games Nintendo has already announced, like Pokemon Snap. That should also be early 2021. So yes, early 2021 and 2021 in general should be a much stronger year for Nintendo compared to 2020. And it's not directly due to PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X.
Yep.
It's just how things kind of unfolded this year for Nintendo. And 2021 is just looking like a better year for them overall. And we can't dismiss that there has been the talk that Nintendo is launching a new Switch revision next year, and you need software to launch brand new hardware. So yeah, good things to come in 2021, but not directly related to Sony and Microsoft. And we had another $5 donation from Skittles, who wrote, "Hey Nate and MVG, I just wanted to let you both know I'm a total slut for the Xbox ecosystem. And on that note, what's your gamer score? I just broke 210,000. That's a high gamer score.
That is. I'm probably at about 30-something thousand on mine.
Yeah, I'm about 63,000. And I mean, a part of the reason I would say my gamer score is only 63,000 is that I do play a lot also on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. So there's a lot of multi-platform games I've played on Sony systems or even on a Nintendo system. So my focus really hasn't been on the Xbox ecosystem when it comes to the gamer scores and achievements, because it was kind of just limited to more so of Microsoft's exclusive content and maybe a multiplayer game that was really online heavy and I knew I wanted to play with my friends on live. But bravo to 210,000. I mean, I'm sure Rand L. Thors will be listening to this saying, I got over 1 million overall, you combined.
Yeah, he's probably saying I did that about 12 years ago.
I did that on the Xbox 360 in the launch window.
I did pick up some achievements recently playing Flight Simulator, so I'm it's something that I haven't really actively been going after for many years. But I was into it for a while. But yeah, I mean, these days I don't really think about too much. Like you, my main focus was on the PlayStation 4, but I always like getting achievements on games. It's always fun.
Yeah, I'm not much of an achievement hunter. I just play the game if I unlock them naturally. You know, that's how it goes. Like I've been playing Tell Me Why. All the achievements are almost not missable except for a few where you have to get like all the collectibles in a chapter. But that's just from natural investigating. So I typically end up unlocking all the achievements in those type of games. But yeah, it's fun. I'm glad for the people who really enjoy it. It is something I wish Nintendo at least had an option for. But, Nintendo and online infrastructure, they're still in 2007. And we'll probably get on that topic a little more later in the episode. And as always, if you'd like to support the channel, we do have a Streamlabs link in the description below on YouTube. You can donate $1 or up to whatever amount you want. If you donate $100, we will dedicate the episode to you. Ask us a question and we will answer it at the end of the episode. Or if we only have a couple, we'll start the episode with your questions. And as always, to those who have donated, thank you for your generosity and support. And if you enjoy this upcoming episode, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And let's get right into it. The 35th anniversary Mario Direct aired this morning, and Nintendo came with a lot of Mario content. They showed us a wide range of software. We have Super Mario 3D All-Stars coming out on September 18th, and this includes Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Nintendo also announced Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, and this title is very unique. It is Mario Kart in augmented reality. You get an RC Mario Kart, and you drive it around your living room, and it has a camera positioned above the character, and you use your Switch to control the RC car, and it has in-game visuals. It has like the banana peels and all this stuff as you're racing on the course you create in your house. So you do need a Switch to play this. It'll cost $99 when it comes out on October 16th, and it'll be available with a Mario or a Luigi set. Nintendo also announced a Game & Watch Super Mario Brothers. Now, this is a nostalgia device. It heralds back to Nintendo's Game & Watch days. It has Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers The Lost Levels, and it has a Mario version of Game & Watch Ball. It'll come out on November 13th, and it will retail for $49.99. They also announced Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Now, this is an enhanced version of Super Mario 3D World, and it now features co-op gameplay, but it's online, and it also has local multiplayer. It will have brand new levels, not featured in the Wii U game, and it will come out on February 12th of 2021, and Nintendo will launch new Cat Mario and Cat Peach amiibo will also come out early next year. And then Nintendo announced Super Mario Bros. 35. And this is players playing Super Mario Brothers against 34 other players.
It's like a battle royale, right?
Yes,
yeah.
It's battle royale. It's kind of similar to what we saw at the Nintendo World Championships, where they played Mario Maker, and they had a race to that end. And this is pretty similar to that. So it's kind of like Tetris 99, except you're playing Mario. It's going to come out on October 1st. It's exclusive to Nintendo Switch Online members, but the game's only playable until March 31st of 2021. So it's a limited amount of time that we can play this game. And then Nintendo announced that Super Mario All-Stars for the Super NES is now available on Nintendo Switch Online's, subscription service. You can go update that app today, and you can play Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers Lost Levels, Super Mario Brothers 2, and Super Mario Brothers 3 with the enhanced graphics that the Super NES version offered. So let's start with the Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Let's start with that. What were your thoughts on this creative new approach to Mario Kart in a celebration of the 35th anniversary of Mario?
I mean, it was cool, but it's not something that I'm interested in, Nate. I think there's definitely some really cool tech that's being applied there, but I'm not interested in that. I mean, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I'm thinking along the same lines as you. I mean, this game was created by Velen Studios, and they're known for racers. A lot of the guys or the individuals who work at the studio were part of Vicarious Visions. And yeah, the technology in this is really exciting. The AR looks great, but I'm concerned about its lasting appeal because it's kind of like, one, you need a big open room. Or, I mean, you can make a course that goes around your, coffee table, your couch, your chairs, and all your furniture. But then I need the Switch to play. And how long is this lasting appeal really going to be for a $100, RC game?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe as a kid, I'd look at it and say, wow, this is awesome. It's going, I'm racing around my room. But when I'm viewing it, just from my own age perspective, it feels like Labo, where you're going to have fun with it for a few days, and then it's going to be, well, never mind, I'm moving on. And I mean, I hope there are people out there who are excited about this, who sort of say, oh my God, that looks awesome. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. I'm excited about the technology and to see how it's kind of pushing augmented reality in really cool ways. But for $100, and that only comes with one cart, they didn't price what the additional Mario Karts, will retail for. I'm
Yeah.
a little hesitant, but yeah, if I were a little kid, I'd probably be super excited about this.
Yeah, I think for me that the tech is the most interesting piece, and if this does well, what's next? How do they evolve this tech and make it
Yes.
a little more widestream for a bigger audience? I definitely think there's something that I want to keep an eye on, but personally, it's not something that I'm going to pick up and take a look
Yeah.
at.
I think, yeah, we're a little above the demographic age for it. I mean, I can see this doing really well in, Japan, amongst some American families, and even in Europe. But, you just need to make sure you do have a living quarters where you have the available space to make at least a decent sized track. I mean, I guess you can make it as small as you want or as big as you want, but I mean, it still depends on your room layout. But yeah, the technology is really exciting. I'm curious how the Nintendo will kind of push AR. We saw them use augmented reality on the 3DS with the Face Raiders game, which wasn't all that fun. And this looks a lot better than that. But maybe if Nintendo continues to push AR, we'll get a lot of, a lot more interesting software from it. So this was really cool to see, even if it doesn't appeal to me personally. Then we had the Game and Watch Super Mario Brothers. From a collector standpoint, this is a really neat release, and for $50, it's kind of like an easy. I'll just pick up and buy it. I still have the Club Nintendo Game and Watch Ball release that they came out with many years ago. So this is something I would buy. I would never open it, and it would really just be a collection piece that I show off on a bookcase.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to play these games, there's other ways for me to play these Mario games, and I really don't need a Mario clock on a 2-inch screen.
I got to be honest, Nate. This was probably my favorite announcement of the Direct. I'm pretty hyped about this one. I love stuff like this, and this really appeals to me. We were talking before we started recording, but I think I predicted that there would be a Mario Special Edition Switch, and I guess this is it, right? I mean, we're not going to get the limited edition Special Edition Mario 35th Switch. Instead, we're getting the Game and Watch, which look, I'm good with. I'll probably check it out for sure. But yeah, I'm a little confused about why there's no new hardware with this Direct and this collection, this 35th anniversary collection. But the Game and Watch is definitely a good announcement, and I'll pick it up for sure.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there, because it did seem like it was a perfect opportunity for them to release a limited edition bundle of the Mario, software. Let's say the Super Mario Brothers 3D All Stars collection with a Mario themed Switch, and release it for the holidays. And now it's September 3rd. Maybe they do. They could still announce this, maybe next month, later this month, or November 1st. Who knows? There's still time for that, but it was interesting that the only new hardware was the Game and Watch. And yeah, it is a neat piece of hardware. Longtime Mario fans or just longtime Nintendo fans, it's definitely something that they're going to have their eye on come November 13th when it launches. But yeah, you really would have expected something more from them in terms of like a holiday bundle, including some of this Mario stuff, just to push Switch sales a little more. And now we can move to Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. So this is the enhanced Super Mario 3D World Deluxe version that we've been talking about for months. And it's finally dated for February 12th of next year. And the big inclusion is that it has online co-op, and it has brand new levels and basically a whole new campaign mode with Bowser's Fury. What did you think of this announcement?
This one was pretty good. Again, we've talked about this before, and we did predict and speculate that it wouldn't be a part of, I guess, the All Stars collection, and it would be its own thing that would come out in 2021. And I think I said January, but I mean February is the date. And look, it looks good. I think I'll probably double dip on this one. I like 3D World on the Wii U. I was a big fan of that game. So yeah, I'll probably check it out again. Everything that they showed here was looked good. The Bowser's Fury edition is interesting, and yeah, I mean the online multiplayer looks solid as well. So yeah, I'll probably double dip on this one.
Yeah, I see. I wasn't a huge fan of 3D World. just because it felt like it was such a casual 3D Mario game. I didn't feel the challenge from the platforming until you really got deep into the game towards the end.
It does take a little while to get into the groove with
Yes.
that game. You can easily play the first hour or so or two and not really feel it. You're right. It does start to get challenging later on in the game, and maybe that's where it loses some points. But overall, I think the game is exceptional, and it's a little underrated. So getting it out again to a new audience for Switch folks to check out. A lot of them are going to be for the first time. I think it's a smart move, and I think the game will do well.
Oh, it's definitely going to sell well. We just saw New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe become one of the best-selling games on the Switch in a very limited amount of time. And I think 3D World is going to follow that trajectory. It's going to sell well, and the inclusion of online co-op will help it boost even further sales, because any fan of the Wii U original now has this new release with the online co-op and a brand new campaign. And that's going to get people to say, well, I'm going to double dip. And you're going to have a lot of people who have invested into a Switch who never played it on the Wii to begin with, and they're going to view it as this is a brand new 3D Mario game.
Yeah.
So it's an easy sell for Nintendo. It coming out in early 2021 makes a lot of sense. We did expect January just because that's been Nintendo's kind of their pattern of releasing Wii U games in the early portion of the year. It's been January for New Super Mario Brothers U. It was January for Tokyo Mirage Sessions. So, they broke the trend here. It's coming out right before Valentine's Day. And what's more loving than a cat Mario? Now we had a very odd release. Super Mario Brothers 35, which is the competitive online battle game, which has 35 players compete against each other to be the last Mario standing. You defeat the enemies, you go through a course, you can get all the special items, the mushrooms, and the goal is to outpace your opponent until you reach the goal, and hopefully they die, they get killed by the Goomba along the way. And the odd thing about this release isn't that it is exclusive to just Nintendo Switch Online members, because Tetris 99 was for a while. It's that the game is only going to be available from October 1st to the end of March of 2021. So they're literally only giving us this game for about 5 months. And I don't understand the reasoning behind that. I get it if you want to say, well, it's just for the 35th anniversary. That's the end of our fiscal year. It's a digital game. If it has an engaged base and people are playing it all the time and there's an active community, why are you going to cut it off?
Yeah, I'm going to save my thoughts till we talk about Mario All Stars 3D as well, because that kind of falls in a similar boat. But yeah, right. Quick answer to that is Nintendo's being Nintendo.
So I guess staying on the topic of that game, what did you think of the overall concept of the game? Is it intriguing to you?
Again, not something that I'm probably going to play, but looking at the success of Tetris 99 and how well that's done online competitively, I think this is a smart move. Basically taking a very similar formula to that and coming up with some battle royale game. I think all the Mario speedrunners out there are rubbing their hands together, because this is something that they will really appreciate. So yeah, I think it's a good addition to to the Switch. I am very concerned that it has a limited shelf by date, as some of the other things have on this list that we're gonna talk about. But yeah, it's a good addition. Again, not really my cup of tea though.
So now we'll get into the heart of the matter. Super Mario 3D All-Stars was announced today. As we said earlier, it has Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. It's releasing on September 18th. And just like Super Mario 35, it has this weird stipulation that the game's only going to be available for the Nintendo Switch family of systems from September 18th until approximately March 31st of 2021. And I understand the reasoning of having the retail version of this game be a limited, run copy. It's for the 35th anniversary. You're celebrating the year. You're making this a collector's, release essentially. But why is the digital version going to be delisted from the eShop come the end of March of next year? That boggles my mind because you don't have to worry about stock. It's not an issue anymore. It just sounds like they want to make a game rare for the sake of making it rare. Make the physical release rare. Give it 6 months at retail. If you missed out on it, it's unfortunate, but at least the digital version still exists. And I know the defense of this for some is that they're countering it by saying, well, Nintendo will probably release all 3 games individually sometime in 2021. That doesn't excuse this. There's no reason 3D All-Stars can't be offered as a complete package on the eShop from September 18th until the servers eventually shut down in the distant future.
This one just baffles me, Nate. I'm trying to come up with a reason why I think Nintendo's done this, and I'm just coming up with nothing. Even the physical, I think that it shouldn't have a limited edition date associated to it. They should just sell the physical. I mean, you know, I get it that the All Stars name has this kind of limited edition, you know, thing associated with it, but we're not talking about the days of the Wii U anymore, of the Nintendo Wii anymore. That was a long, long time ago. This is 2020. We're in. This is a COVID year. This has been a really tough year for many, many people out there. And being Nintendo and offering this game literally for a very, very short time physically, and you know that these scalpers are going to be jumping on, like they've got bots probably set up right now on Amazon, on Best Buy, on eBay, and everywhere else, ready just to snap this stuff up and just basically just completely drain the market of any copies that anyone that wants to get a copy for their kid for Christmas or whatever, they're going to be missing out. And I just think Nintendo has completely missed the boat on this one. I think they really need to reconsider, you know, what they're doing here. And to your point, the digital edition having a limited edition date as well, like an end-by date, that just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I'm still trying to figure out why they've done this. And like I said, again, back in the days of the Wii, yes, you could give them a pass for it. I get it. You're generating that hype and excitement around it. Collectors, you know, they want to get their hands on this stuff as quickly as they can. And, you know, it's that whole fear of missing out, you know, mentality that Nintendo is so good at doing. But man, it's 2020. I mean, it's been a real tough year for so many people. You know, think about what you're doing, Nintendo. Go back and maybe just relax those restrictions a little bit. Is what I think.
Yeah, it really it confuses me because I can understand the limited retail release. I just don't understand the limited retail release of this game.
Yeah.
And even if they do, let's say on April 1st, they said, oh, well, now all the games are available individually. Well, it's been out for 6 months. You're going to be able to look at the versions and say, well, maybe Mario 64 isn't up to snuff. Well, I don't want that. Maybe Sunshine still isn't a game you like. I don't want that. So now you're losing a potential $60 investment where people would say, well, I'm going to buy it, you know, digitally or physically, and now I'm just going to buy one for 20. You're actually losing money if you make that decision, as opposed to just basically forcing you to buy this collection. And to your point, where you brought up, like, the All-Stars name is kind of like this prestigious brand.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it has to be this, you know, limited thing. There's going to be a lot of scalpers. You're going to have a lot of bots going on all these retail sites, taking up all these copies. And Nintendo is infamous for one thing. They consistently underestimate demand for a product. We saw it with the Amiibo, where bots were buying up all those, and Nintendo would come out and say, well, we underestimated demand. We apologize. We'll do better for the next wave. And it's like, great, your next wave, you went from 1,000 to 2,000. What do you really, like, realistically, what are you going to ship for the 3D All-Stars collection on a retail level? Are you going to come out and print 5, 6, 8 million copies between September and March? Or are you going to come out there and do a very, very limited run of like 2 to 3 million copies?
Yeah.
Force us to actively have to hunt, or give up the hunt and say, well, I'll just buy it digitally. And I mean, I guess at the end of the day, Nintendo doesn't care. If you buy it digitally, it's better for them. They don't have to give a cut to retailers. But as a consumer, the fact that I have to have this discussion with myself of, well, I want a physical copy, but it's all sold out because of bots, or I can pay, 120 on eBay, or I can just get it digital for 60. It shouldn't be a that shouldn't even be a conversation I'm having with myself for a release coming out in September.
Yeah.
Just because it's getting cut off at the end of March.
Yeah, Nintendo's leaving all this money on the table with this one, and I just don't get it. I mean, this could be something that potentially could sell 10 million copies, right? Like if they just let it go. But you're right. I mean, they're probably limiting this to maybe 2 million. We don't know the numbers, but yeah, there'll be there's a upper limit of how many copies they have available, and they're gonna get snapped up almost immediately, and we're just gonna be in that situation we were in with the Wii version and with the NES Classic when that came out initially, and early Amiibo and all that sort of stuff. It's the same thing over and over again, and it just frustrates me that Nintendo is doing the same thing. And look, I don't know if that whole line of we underestimated the demand really makes any sense on this one, because people have been waiting for this for a long time. We've been talking about this pretty much since the whole year. I mean, we've talked about the 3D collection probably in at least 7 or 8 previous episodes. I mean, this is not something that is should be a surprise to anyone. This is probably one of the worst kept secrets in video games,
And that's the thing, is that if they wanted to gauge demand fully, you didn't have to date this game 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
You could have released this in a month. You announced it today. You said it's coming out first week of October. You got a few weeks. You can get some pre-orders. You can get an idea of the allocation you have to give to retailers and say, okay, demand is high. Let's print those copies. Let's get ready. Instead, it really does feel like they've created a situation where they know they're not going to have enough copies at retail just to push digital sales. And I get it's in the interest of business. You want to make more money. And if this is their way of getting Switch owners more accustomed to buying digitally, it's a smart move on a business side. But as a fan and a consumer of your product, it kind of makes me feel like, well, maybe your interests clearly are not for me. Like their idea is not for the consumer's best interest. It's let's make money. Let's make artificial scarcity for this high demand product. It's going to be that hot item this holiday. And my only option is I'll buy it digitally because you guys didn't print enough copies. And that's a lose-lose for the customer, because I shouldn't have to be forced to go digitally because you misread the market, or you just chose not to read the market whatsoever and just threw your hands up and said, here you go, have fun. And we have to see Jingle All the Way of me chasing a red bouncy ball in a mall, so I can maybe get my copy of Turbo Man.
So who is the 3D collection geared for? Is it for new fans of Mario that played Odyssey and want more Mario, or is it for just the older retro nostalgia fans that are Mario fans that have played these games before and essentially just want to buy it on the Switch and possibly never play it, just keep it sealed on the shelf?
It should be both markets, but due to the limited window of availability, it kind of feels like it's more so for the nostalgia fan who may not even have a Switch.
Yeah.
They'll buy the game and hope they can get a Switch in the future, because we're still looking at sellouts.
This is a collector's piece. I mean, let's be honest. It's
Yes.
not really... Nintendo's not marketing this for a new audience. I mean, they can say that, or they can talk about that in a direct, but look, their kind of actions just speak really, really loud here as far as what they're doing. If this was truly for a new audience and getting, a younger audience into the older retro Mario games for the first time, then they're completely going about it the wrong way, because this is not the way it should be done.
Right, because if I want to get this to a new audience, let's say, little Timmy who's going to get a Switch for Christmas or early next year, because let's say the kid's birthday is in March, you'd want this game available at all times so they can say, hey, I played Odyssey. That was awesome. I just played the new 3D World. That's cool. I have Nintendo Switch Online. I played Mario All-Stars. I played the 2D games. Well, I want to play some of those old 3D ones. And it's, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
you missed the cutoff point. Better luck next time. Go buy a physical copy from a secondhand seller on Amazon for 5 times the original price.
Yep.
And it's the worst part is it's purely cultivated by Nintendo.
Yep. Exactly.
It's not a case of like we're on Switch 3 and you're sitting there saying, man, I wish I played that Mario All-Stars way that it came out on the Switch 15 years ago. It's Nintendo saying a current release, hey, we're just not going to make it available for a long time. Sorry. And you could fix that. You could alleviate all those problems by at least making the digital version available forever.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a baffling business decision. I don't understand it. And maybe on the business front, it makes a lot more sense. But to me, they are limiting the sales potential unless they think it's just going to be this huge flood of people coming in from September through the holidays of, I can't miss out. I got to buy now.
Yes.
And like, yeah, that's also great business. Create demand. But it sucks for the consumer because a lot of gamers have fear of missing out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what this product's going to be. And if Nintendo does not manufacture enough physical copies, they deserve any criticism that comes their way.
Yeah. I mean, we know how this is going to go. This has happened so many times before. Like like I said, there's going to be bots that just buy them all up on Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, GameStop. I mean, these things are going to be gone literally within an hour, and they'll be on eBay literally 5 minutes after that for 2 or 3, 4 times the price. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, and I think that's a damn shame for something that's supposed to be a celebration of the 3D line of Mario product, that there is a potential that you can just never get a copy due to undershipping and computer bots and scalpers. But I guess that's capitalism, that's consumerism, that's the reality that we live in. It's unfortunate. Maybe Nintendo will change the date. Maybe they'll extend it. They did say approximately the end of March of 2021. Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll extend it a month or two if demand remains high. I don't see them doing that because we've seen how they handled the NES and Super NES Classic. We've seen how they handled the Amiibo. I don't have faith in them handling this the right way after the news came out today. Maybe they'll prove me a liar. I hope they do. And we'll find out soon enough. It sucks because, I am a fan of these games. I want to play these games. I will end up getting a digital copy because it's just going to be more convenient. I want a physical copy.
Yeah.
Because I do collect very specific games. This is something I would like to have a physical copy of, but I'm not hunting for it. If I can't get it easily, then I'm not getting it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a bit of a shame that it's gone out this way, but I ended up getting 2 from Best Buy this morning. I don't really think it's either of them going to get fulfilled. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Like, I might be lucky, but I'm not really expecting any miracles here. So we'll see.
It is Best Buy. They're notorious for messing up pre-orders. So hopefully the luck is on your side.
Hopefully.
Let's get into...
I was going to ask real quick. So, and maybe you're about to ask the same questions, but what about the price of this collection itself at $60?
I'm okay with the price at $60. It's 3 games, $20 a piece if you want to break it down in your mind to like justify how much you're going to spend. I think it's a fair price overall for what the package entails of the 3 games. I think I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people would be okay with the price.
Yeah,
but maybe they won't be.
I'm mostly okay with the price. But let's maybe get into the games themselves and see what we got going on there.
Yes, let's talk about some of the technical aspects of the games. The Nintendo did come out and they said, hey, we've improved the games. We've optimized them for the Switch. You have now HD visuals for all 3 games. You have 16:9 for Super Mario Sunshine. And the resolution of each game is that Mario 64 is going to be 960 by 720 in handheld and docked mode. Super Mario Sunshine is 1080p in TV, 720p in handheld. Mario Galaxy is 1080p at most on the TV and 720p at most while handheld. So Mario 64 has been a hot topic that people are kind of wondering, why is Mario 64 only 720p even while docked? And it's because, at least to my understanding, is that N64 games were 240. This scales better,
Yeah.
especially in a 4:3 ratio.
Yeah, it's integer scaled, so it's going to get that kind of pixel perfect clean look about it, which is good. I mean, I think that's the right thing that they should do, you know.
Now, we'll go game to game. What did you think of Mario 64's footage they had in this? I mean, we've talked about Mario 64 for this collection several times now, and I compared it to Turok 64 or Banjo-Kazooie on the Xbox 360, and it's pretty much exactly what we got. It is the N64 game in HD. They cleaned up some of the textures. They showed an example like where the hat texture looks a bit better. It's nothing that you would probably notice without looking at side by side, but it's exactly what I had expected, and yet I still kind of feel disappointed.
I'm disappointed, Nate. I expected more from this. I mean, the homebrew community is currently playing a version of Super Mario 64 based on the recompilation project that runs at 60 frames per second, that has 16:9 widescreen, and that is available on the Switch, albeit in a modded Switch capacity. And I would have expected at least parity with that. So Nintendo does have the source code to pretty much everything, as we know, especially with the amount of leaks that have been going on over the last few months. They pretty much have kept everything to their credit, which is awesome. But it seems like they've gone the emulation route with this one. This doesn't seem like a port to me. Now, a couple of folks on Twitter did tell me that some of the assets were changed around, like the buttons were changed in the game to represent the Switch's plus button and things like that. But that is not really enough to convince me that this is not being emulated. There are different ways you can obviously modify ROM images. There's also ways to overlay different assets on top of games we've seen before with the Virtual Console. So, I mean, to me, this feels like this feels pretty lazy to me. There's nothing here that stands out as any enhancements to Super Mario 64. Look, it's great that it's on the Switch. It's coming to the Switch in official capacity. But there's nothing here that makes me think, wow, this is like the definitive version of the game, and maybe I want to play it again on the Switch. So for me, I'm a little disappointed that it doesn't have more here. There's nothing extra that's been added. I mean, for God's sake, at least give us 60 frames. I mean, Super Mario 64 on the N64 at the time was a technical achievement, but that was such a long time ago. I mean, this game should be running at 60 on anything these days. So why can't we have that? And I think for me, this port feels a little lazy, and I'm a little disappointed at this one, quite honestly.
Yeah, like the visuals and stuff, it's exactly what I had been saying. It's exactly what I anticipated. I had hopes that Nintendo was going to go, that extra, not even the extra mile, just like an extra yard, and say, well, we have the, DS version. We're not going to base the game on the DS version, but we're going to take a lot of those mini games that made that version special, add some online functionality to those mini games, just as an extra mode. Really create an idea of celebration for Mario 64 here. Instead, it's the Mario 64 that people have played on the Wii Virtual Console, the Wii U Virtual Console, and the only difference is it has some HD textures.
Yeah.
It's not 16:9. It's not 60 frames a second. It's not 1080p.
Yep.
It's still Mario 64 that you have come to know and love for the last 24 years.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and even the HD textures, that's cool, but Nintendo 64 emulators have been doing HD texture packs for years. I mean, this should be something that stands out above everything that we've seen on an emulation capacity in the past. And unfortunately, it's nowhere near, what I thought it would be.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a lot of people who I had seen on Twitter and forums saying, oh, they're remaking Mario 64 in the Odyssey engine, right, for that collection? Because we saw, Peach's castle in Super Mario Odyssey. was like, no, you are never getting that. Nintendo wasn't giving us 3 games for $60 if you really thought they were going back to Mario 64 and remaking it in the Odyssey engine. That would have been a $60 standalone release. And I mean, again, it looks like what I expected. I just thought they were going to go a little extra, include some of the mini games from the DS version, and, just make it feel like a more complete package. It does feel substandard.
Yeah, and look, maybe I'm just a little. Look, I love Super Mario 64. I would say it's up there with one of my favorite Mario games. I just wanted a little bit more love on this one, and right now I'm still a little salty after the direct. But look, it's definitely a good announcement. There's nothing wrong with this version. It's serviceable. I'm sure it's going to run great. It will have a good control system, I'm sure. But I just wanted some more from this one.
Now, Super Mario Sunshine is getting 16:9. It's getting HD resolutions. What did you think about what you saw from Sunshine in today's trailer?
Well, I mean, it's well known that we're both not the biggest Mario Sunshine fans out there. Look, the inclusion of 16:9 is a good thing. Again, I'm a little confused why it's not running at 60. This one doesn't seem like it's emulation. I think this is actually a port, giving it 16:9 and giving it that clean 1080p look. Feels like that this is, they recompiled code to target the Switch rather than run a GameCube emulator, which I think would take a lot of resources running on the Switch. So again, why is there no 60 FPS mode in this? One of my biggest frustrations with Mario Sunshine is it just kind of felt laggy all the time. It ran at like 25 frames a second on the GameCube, and it was just a bit of a mess sometimes, especially when there was a lot going on. So, I was kind of hopeful that if they gave us a better frame rate, then the controls would have been snappier and I could have enjoyed the experience a little better. But again, based on what we've seen, at least, it doesn't seem like that's the case. So I don't know about this one. Look, I'll definitely try it again, and I'm interested to see how it plays on the Switch and how they handle the flood mechanic and all that stuff. But this one seems okay, but I'm not really. I'm a little on the fence about this one as well, I guess I'll say.
And you bring up the good point of it's still 30 frames a second, at least based on what we could tell from the trailer, and they haven't come out and said, oh yeah, it's going to be a 60 frame a second experience for Sunshine. So I'm just going to assume until otherwise confirmed that it is 30 frames a second. And it's weird because when Nintendo originally showed Sunshine way back at its first E3, it was 60 frames a second.
Yep.
So there is a 60 frames a second build of Sunshine that exists in Nintendo's archives.
Absolutely.
It's not like it's some fabled version. It exists. And the fact that this version isn't 60 frames a second is another baffling decision. They could have done it to me. As far as I can tell, they could have done that. Mm-hmm. They chose an artistic direction to not do it. And the visuals of Sunshine in this port or this release based on the trailer, it looks fine. It's another HD upscale. It looks clean enough. It's serviceable. It looks like maybe the most effort they put in was to make it 16:9, go full, HD. And yeah, it's serviceable. I mean, it's known I'm not a fan of Sunshine. I will try it in this collection. I'll see if I can tolerate it more than I could back when it came out, 18 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll see how, I'll see how I respond to it. But I mean, it looks okay.
Yeah.
Now, Mario,
I think with this one, it's not going to bring anything new that makes us want to enjoy the game the second time around over the previous one. And I think that's my biggest thing with this one.
Yeah, we're unsure have they fixed all the collision issues that plague the GameCube version, or am I still going to fall down like the pachinko machine and just fall off the map for no explainable reason because the game said, I don't like you failed.
Yeah.
We don't know, or even like the camera. Are all these issues still prevalent? obviously the limited amount of footage we saw didn't, give us any indication that it has been fixed, but maybe they did. I'm not counting on it, but maybe they'll surprise us. Mario Galaxy, as we mentioned, the resolution is 1080p docked at most and 720p undocked at most. Do you think that means this game has a dynamic resolution? Because of the three, Mario Galaxy is the only title that's 60 frames a second.
Yeah, I think it does, Nate. This will definitely be dynamic. And I think out of all three of these games, this one has the most care and attention put into it. I would say this is probably the one that I'm looking forward to the most in this collection. It looks good. It looked very clean. It'll definitely run at 60. It'll probably be dynamic res and lock it at that 60 frames. And yeah, I mean, I would say this is probably what kind of saves this collection for me. I think it's definitely a good pickup for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Galaxy is one of the best games of all time. And there was some confusion that was going on around online because the game has a mode called Co-Star mode, and you can give a player a second set of Joy-Cons and they move the cursor. The Wii version also had this. And then on the official game's website, they mentioned that if you're using a Nintendo Switch Lite, you need a pair of Joy-Cons, and that's only for Co-Star mode. The Joy-Cons are optional.
Yeah.
When you're playing just like in handheld mode, you don't have to use Joy-Cons, though they don't actually detail how the cursor is going to work if you're playing in handheld mode in solo. We assume it's probably going to be very similar to what we saw with the NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah.
And you'll probably just be using a second analog, or you'll be holding a button or maybe even gyro to move it. So they do have a solution there. You don't have to only play this game with Joy-Cons. You can play in handheld, you can play it docked. So that is a fear alleviated, because had that been the case, we would probably be looking at basically every single version of the games in this collection having some noticeable flaw, which would have been very un-Nintendo.
Yes.
And, Nintendo usually does treat their products with care, and if had all three games had a noticeable flaw, it would have been kind of like, what happened here, guys? But Galaxy does seem to have the most care and attention to it. It should be the most playable, because we still don't know how Flood is really going to operate in Mario Sunshine, but we can assume that Nintendo did come up with a working solution that isn't a train wreck or a nightmare to use or a convoluted mess. So
hopefully
that's good news. Overall, I mean, the collection still, like, we don't have Mario Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
We knew this months ago that it wasn't going to have Galaxy 2.
Right.
A lot of people are still shocked by it.
Yeah, we knew that, and I'm still feeling like it should have been in there, so it's like, just round it off with Mario Galaxy 2. I think if they had included that, this would have gone from a pretty okay collection to a great collection,
Yeah, I think, and that seems to be the theme of the collection. It's a good collection, but it should have been stellar.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at the Super NES, the first Super Mario Brothers All-Stars, it went above and beyond. It was like the original remaster remakes of the era.
I mean, it was the original, we talk about game collections, right? That we're so used to these days, a collection of games on a cartridge or on a disc, whatever. I mean, All-Stars was really the originator of that. I mean, Nintendo were very, very innovative to bring something like that to a cartridge, which no one believed that you could fit more than one game on a single cartridge. And here's Nintendo dropping Super Mario All-Stars with, 4 of the most iconic and best games ever made in video games. I mean, it was absolutely revolutionary, unheard of at the time,
Yeah, and the 3D All-Stars, it almost doesn't feel like it lives up to the All-Star brand. Mm-hmm. And it's not the quality of the games in the collection, it's the way that Nintendo has kind of treated it. And, like, again, this is exactly what we expected from these releases, but I thought Nintendo would have gone a little more with the extras. The only extra in this collection is that they've included music from all three releases, and you can listen to the music even when the Switch screen is off, apparently. And, like, cool, Mario Galaxy has an outstanding soundtrack. Even Super Mario Sunshine has some memorable tracks like Delfino Plaza, and Mario 64 and Dire Docks. That's an amazing tune.
Yeah.
But the only new additions you guys threw into this collection collection is the music. You didn't even give us like some museum quality stuff of, maybe some just development documents,
Yeah.
a developer interview, the extras from the DS version of Mario 64 as just like the mini games, a 60 frames a second Mario Sunshine option.
Yeah, and not to be insensitive or say something wrong, but there was that recent leak of all that stuff, and we know that we know that Nintendo's sitting on an absolute gold mine of artwork, prototype information, different music, just all sorts of stuff. I mean, look, I'm not saying just open the floodgates and show us everything, but give us something more. We know that there's so much really interesting information and story around the development of Super Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy. So let the fans in on some of the extras out that you're sitting on, and show us something that would really make this collection something worth buying and for fans and collectors to enjoy.
Yeah, and I think that's where it falls short. It's like, here's 3 great games.
Yep.
Like, awesome. The problem kind of just comes down to, we've seen companies like Activision do collections where they did Spyro and Crash. They did the original trilogies, but they remade those games. They made the whole release a big spectacle. Or even right now at the Tony Hawk games, they're making it a spectacle, saying, this is what it used to be. We took it to the modern era, and now look at it. And Nintendo's just here like, we know our brand is powerful. We know these games are great. You can play them in their original state, or as close to the original state as we can deliver to you on a modern platform. And it's okay. Like, we're both going to buy this collection. We're part of the problem.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it feels like, they should have developer interviews, artwork. The music is great. Give us some of the unfinished music or unused music. Let us look at some of the unused assets.
Yep.
Or, some of the stuff that didn't make it into the final build of the games, to say, hey, during development, we were going to put in, like Luigi in Mario 64. Let us see some of these things. It's been 2 decades. It's almost 3 decades. You don't have to hold on to these secrets anymore. They're not industry secrets. It's the N64.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, share some of this information with us and make this release really feel like something for the collector. Make it a library and a history lesson of this franchise. This is supposed to be Mario's 35th anniversary.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in this collection that I'm taking away from it that feels like a celebration of Mario.
Yep. Dude, I totally agree. This should be a celebration of Mario, and this just feels like they've just slapped 3 games together. I mean, I'm probably angering some of the listeners, but it just doesn't feel like it's anything that's really compelling to me. I mean, look, you're right, Nate. I've already pre-ordered. I want to buy it. I want to play it. I want to enjoy it. But I'm also mostly curious to see how these ports turned out. You know what I mean? It's not really something that here has anything here that makes me think, wow, this is a true celebration of Mario.
Right. There was nothing about today's trailer that made me sit there and say, oh my God, where's that pre-order link? I got to pre-order it right now. It's more of, I enjoy these games. I love Mario 64. I love Mario Galaxy. I want to play them in handheld mode. I want to play them in leisure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy this collection. But there was nothing there that I watched and it was just like, that, oh my God moment. It was just, that's fine.
Yep.
And it's kind of fueled by 2020 from Nintendo's output has still been very lackluster. And I do want to get to this point, is that All-Stars is coming out in September. Nintendo remains without a holiday release.
I think this is it. I mean, we've talked about that one more game, or the game that we don't know about yet. But man, I got to feel like this is it for them. I mean, I think they're just hedging their bets for 2021 now. I think they're just written off the rest of the year. I think this is it, man.
See, I'm still going to push back on you on that. There's one more game this year. They still have a holiday release. I think it's going to surprise people. The problem is that we are in September. We still don't know about it. And now that Nintendo did just date the Mario 3D All-Stars collection 2 weeks from, release.
Yeah.
I guess if they do want to release a game in November, maybe they can wait until late October. But then that makes me wonder, why did you date Pikmin 3 2.5 months ahead of release? And 3D All-Stars, you did a marketing lead up of only 2 weeks. that doesn't really make any sense to me when I think about it from a logistic standpoint, especially from pre-orders from retailers and such. So that continues to baffle my mind. But I still think Nintendo has one more holiday release. It's going to surprise people.
I
It's
hope
just a
so.
matter of when are they going to announce it.
Yeah.
And ideally, it is soon. It will probably be a Twitter drop. This was a Twitter drop. It was just unannounced, 9 a.m. Thursday morning, September 3rd. Here's a Mario Direct. So if Nintendo does have more software coming out this year, I mean, we're still waiting on the next Smash Brothers fighter. Now they could just drop another, Twitter thing next week of,
Yep.
a moment with Sakurai, and he's going to talk about the next character. This feels like this is Nintendo's way of communicating their first party efforts in 2020 is through Twitter drops. Third parties are going to continue to use the partner showcase. Maybe we get a normal mini that has Nintendo content with third parties. But as we said in the last episode, I think general directs for 2021 or 2020 are finished. They will return in 2021. And I mean, Nintendo still has to talk about some of their early 2021 releases. I mean, we have now Super Mario Brothers 3 Deluxe, but we probably need some new information about Pokemon Snap. We are still headless when it comes to Bravely Default 2. We haven't heard of it since the demo dropped, where they just said, oh yeah, development is still going well. And the demo had a lot of negative reception. So I'm sure that game's probably been delayed to 2021 at this point. No More Heroes 3, we saw back in August with the indie stuff. And we haven't heard from it again. I wouldn't be surprised if that got pushed to 2021 at this point as well. No More Heroes 1 HD, I could see releasing this year. But, I mean, Nintendo still has to communicate some of their 2020 plans. This was a big step. This was a big moment. This was a game they had to communicate to us. I'm glad they finally did. The rumors can finally be, shut off. People can stop doubting its existence. It exists. It's coming out in 2 weeks. You can play it.
This is more of a relief than anything. It's like, thank God. Now we can move on and get on with, the rest of the year. We've been talking about this for months. So it's good that it's finally out.
It is. Now, not to get too deep into the future, but I have to go here. We've seen what Nintendo did for the 35th anniversary of Mario. Next year is Zelda's anniversary. If they are to do a similar collection of some of the 3D Zelda games, would you look at the Mario 3D All-Stars as an example of what we could get from a Nintendo effort of a Zelda collection? Let's assume it is it's Ocarina of Time,
Majora's
Mask.
Phantom Hourglass.
Oh God. I don't think they would include like the Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and Skyward Sword. I could view those maybe as like their own trilogy of releases, or just as their own separate releases if Nintendo goes that route.
I would say, I mean, for me, I think maybe they'll treat this very similar in that they'll take one of the games, which was the Wii U HD enhanced version, and make that its own release, and then bundle the other one, the Wii version, with a collection.
I'll counter that. This is an idea now. Instead of doing Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, Nintendo says, here's the trilogy of games we're doing for Zelda. You're getting Twilight Princess based on the Wii U version, Wind Waker based on the Wii U version, because those ports would be minimal effort to bring to the Switch. And the third game is Skyward Sword.
Ooh.
And you basically look at what we got from Galaxy. It'll be that type of effort. Is that enough to make fans happy, or would you feel kind of like, oh, these are the two exact same games I just played on the Wii U, and Skyward Sword it's still the Wii game, just now it's HD'd, and I'm using the Joy-Con to use it as motion controls, and it works okay. And then they added in analog controls, so you're kind of controlling the sword like Raiden in Metal Gear Rising.
I think it needs to be better than this. The 3D All Stars, right? Like, I think they need to take a look at what they're coming out with and improve on it in every way. And hopefully they are. They're going to give this some more attention. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the Zelda collection, if indeed there is a collection, plays out. But yeah, we expect a lot of things from Zelda next year with the 35th anniversary.
Yeah, I mean, it feels inevitable that we'll get a Zelda collection next year. But then again, next year, I believe, is the 25th anniversary of Pokemon.
What
And
about Metroid? Isn't it the anniversary of Metroid as well?
Nintendo doesn't
Does
care about
anyone
Metroid's anniversary.
does Nintendo even acknowledge that anymore?
No, they forget Metroid is kind of a franchise. I mean, they do have a few Metroid games coming to Switch, and we should hear about the 2D Metroid in the relative future. I don't know if we'll hear about it in 2020, but hopefully we hear about it in early 2021. So, I mean, 2021 should be a decent year for Metroid. We should at least have the new 2D Metroid game released in 2021. I mean, it's unknown of how much COVID has potentially delayed that game, but hopefully it comes in 2021. But I mean, yeah, we're not going to be celebrating Metroid's anniversary in any meaningful way because Nintendo's kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, Samus, we made you. We tried to forget about you, but fans just keep talking about you, so we made Federation Force. But yeah, Zelda should be the big celebration next year. I mean, Breath of the Wild 2, probably some sort of collection. And the way they celebrated Zelda 10 years ago on the Wii was they did the Skyward Sword bundle.
Right.
And that was about it, right? I don't think they did anything else for that celebration. Well, they gave the whole orchestra and the symphony at E3, and they gave out the soundtrack as a Club Nintendo reward, which was neat. But I'd expect a bigger celebration for Zelda come 2021, and hopefully it is a better effort than what we saw from the 3D All-Stars collection. And again, they're good games. We're buying them.
Yeah.
We just feel like Nintendo could have gone a little more effort on this and not, just looked at it and said, paint it HD and box it.
Yep. Agree. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to, get back into it again, but yeah, I think overall it was a solid presentation. The collection, there's nothing wrong with the collection. I wanted a little more, and I guess, Nate, what would you rate this? I'd probably give at least what we've seen so far. I mean, I will reserve, I guess, my final thoughts, when I actually get my hands on playing it. But what we saw today, I'd probably give it like a 7.5.
Man, it's tough. If I break it down like individual things, I'd probably end up rating it like an 8 because, like, the 3D All-Stars collection, I give it a passing grade. Like, I give it a 6.
Yeah.
3 good games, satisfactory effort. The Mario Kart augmented reality thing, awesome technology, doesn't appeal to me, but I can see that it could be a decent seller for a lot of people with younger children and they want to play Mario Kart with their kids, so that's great potential. Like, I would give that like an 8.
Yep.
I think it's funny that of the Mario games shown today, the one with the most enhancements was 3D World Deluxe, and that was the most recent Mario game released, while the 3 games that are being heralded as the celebration have minimal effort.
Yeah.
So with 3D World Deluxe and all that new content, I mean, I'd probably give that a 9 out of 10. So overall, I'd probably rate the Direct, as a Mario fan, probably about an 8.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and you bring up some good points about 3D World. If they did bundle 3D World in that All Stars collection, that would definitely make it a lot more compelling. But I'm good with what they're doing with 3D World. I think it's definitely its own thing, and a early next year release date makes a lot of sense. And like I said, I'll be double dipping on that one.
Yeah, 3D World has a lot of potential now with that new content. A lot of double dippers, a lot of first timers are going to experience that, and I mean, you're going to have a lot of people who might be missing out on the 3D World collection, and they're going to buy 3D World Deluxe instead because you can't find the other one at retail. So I guess Nintendo wins no matter what. People are going to be buying both Mario games come February of 2021. So well played, Nintendo. You're going to get our money. And that will conclude today's episode of Nate the Hate. If you enjoyed the episode, give it a like. If you didn't, give the video a dislike. Let us know your thoughts on the Mario 35th Anniversary Direct and the Mario 3D All-Stars Collection in the comments section below. And as always, continue to embrace the hate.